Good evening. The board has now returned from closed session and will begin the regular session of Keys Union School District Board of Trustees meeting. 4.1, report out closed session items. We have nothing to report out. Do we have a motion to have nothing to report out?
I'll motion.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 4.2, approval amendment of agenda. 10.1 and 10.14 have just been updated.
Yes,
Those are in front of us right now.
and they're only updated. They're not, it's not completely new. They were just updated between the packets going out.
Any questions or concerns? Any other updates?
Yeah.
All right, do we have a motion to approve with the two updates?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to the flag salute. We've been told that you can't really hear us on the YouTube, so Mr. Green's going to go up to the podium and try it from there. Don't forget to tell us when to stand.
The what stands?
Tell us when to stand.
Right here, Mr. President?
Yes.
Everybody rise, please. Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll see if that's better for the video. Got to get your walking shoes next month. Moving on to invitation and address of the Board of Trustees. Do we have any? All right. Moving on to announcements. 7.1, all KUSD President Holiday No School today, February 17th through the 21st. 7.2, Spratling Middle School Boys Basketball Tournament will be next week, February 22nd through the 24th. That's at Hickman. 7.3, Keys to Learning Charter Key Academy Talent Show will be February 24th. What time is that?
Actually, they just switched it to the 25th.
Great.
Location. And I believe it's at 6 o'clock.
That way it won't mess up the tournament.
That'll be the Friday night then.
And that's a really fun thing to go to, guys. I really encourage you guys to go. And if you could send us reminders too, that'd be, and location. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to 7.4, Keys Elementary School Site Council meeting is March 1st. 7.6, Spratling Middle School honoree every student succeeding virtual award ceremony is March 8th via Zoom, right?
Yes, and I sent out that link.
7.7, Keys to Learning Charter Math Madness Competitions, March 14th. 7.8, Keys to Learning Core Academy Talent Show is March 21st. Is that going to be like the same, just the younger? All right, moving on to 7.9, Spratling Middle School Extreme Science Assembly is March 18th. 7.10, Keys to Learning Charter WASC Visit. And I think we're going to participate with that again like we normally do, but we'll be...
And I've sent out the invitations for their arrival. The committee and the chair have asked for a representation from the board and from the district on the Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, I believe. And then the other dates I sent out. So if any of you can make it, I know some of you can't, but I sent those out. So if you can, that would be great.
You've gone before. Yeah. Sure. All right, moving on to recognition, staff reports. We've read the staff reports. Do we have any questions? All right, moving on to 8.2, KUSD supplement to annual update to the 21-22 LCAP and mid-year expenditure report. Stephanie and Elia? Who's taking it?
You can go, Stephen. My update in terms of the LCAP is we are continuing to work on all of our areas of the LCAP and trying to implement as many of the actions and services that we have written on them, including using some of the extra money that was provided that is to supplement those services or to support those services. Our biggest challenge truly has been finding staffing that is appropriate for us to continue and to provide the services that are on the LCAP. The good thing is that we are continuously trying to meet those and that we will be able to continue to provide those services in the coming school year and not have to seize those things or return any of the funds at the end of this particular year. So with that, I'll let Stephanie kind of share the rest.
So as part, can you hear me?
Yeah, much better than last month.
Okay. So as part of this mid-year update, one of the requirements was we were supposed to explain to you what we are doing with additional concentration dollars that we received. So districts who had a high number of unduplicated students received an additional 15% in concentration funds. And for our district, it was a little over $300,000. So part of this update is to tell you what we're doing with those extra dollars. So if you should all have a copy of the expenditure spreadsheet.
Buried in this packet. Oh.
So, as you know, we have 3 goals, and each goal has several actions, and I'm not going to go over all of them. I just want to point out some of the most important pieces. So under goal 1, we had a planned textbook adoption. We ended up spending $228,000 for the science book adoption. I'm losing my voice here quickly. Because of all the ESSER funds that we received, the extra COVID money that we were able to spend on technology. I don't know if I'm
Raul needs to take over.
We're going to recognize about a $90,000 savings for technology. We added $15,000 for arts and enrichment activities, and that's what's funding the Extreme Science Assembly at Spratling. All other budgeted activities under Goal 1 are being spent as outlined in our LCAP. Under Goal 2, we added $104,000 for a teacher on special assignment, but we've been unable to fill that position at this time. So that might be money that we have to carry over into next year. We're spending, we have budgeted $192,000. We added 2 office assistants, 1 at each school site, 4 paraprofessionals, and 1 health aide. And currently only 3 of the 7 positions are filled. So we're really struggling to try to find people. We have the money, we have the resources, but we can't find the people to fill those positions. We also added over $60,000 to increase the nurse contract from 2.75 days per week to 5 days per week. And fortunately, we contract with SCO for those services, so we were able to fill that. So right now we're operating with a school nurse for 5 days a week. We're unable to fill positions for after-school tutoring. We have $19,000 budgeted. We've only spent $2,000 so far. All other existing positions under Goal 2 have been fully staffed. Under Goal 3, we spent $8,000 for the PK Institute, which is the Parent Institute for Quality Education. We spent $3,600 for student agendas. We added $72,000 in the hopes of providing a music teacher for KES and SMS. I think we just filled that position, not 100% sure. And we also added $15,000 for music equipment repair or replacement. I want to point out that we continue to fully fund outdoor education and athletics for students. Outdoor ed costs about $25,000, and athletics, we have budgeted $33,000. We provided $15,000 for field trips. So far, we've only spent a little over $1,000, probably due to COVID that we can't schedule field trips. We had SART, DART, and SARB referrals. We budgeted $17,600. We've already spent that money, and it looks like that contract could double before the end of the year. And that speaks to the fact that so many kids are absent right now and not attending school, and the cost to follow up on all of that. All other existing positions under Goal 3 remain fully staffed. This year, we used COVID funds, so not supplemental concentration, to pay for 1 additional day for a school psychologist and behavioral intervention specialist. It cost about $67,000 just to add the 2 additional days. But we believe we can continue to keep those contracted days next year using supplemental concentration money. So we'll know for sure once we have the budget developed. Do you have any questions?
Nobody ask any questions.
No, no.
Wow, I'm sorry, my
Stephanie,
voice
your
was
voice
doing,
is getting better, though.
It's much better than last
Yeah.
month.
it was much better earlier in the day.
Much better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So are you trying to say you need board nights off? All right, thank you for the update. Anything else, Mr. Brazel? No. All right, moving on to 8.3 KTL supplement to the annual update 2021-22 LCAP by Ms. McGinnis. And could you speak up so we can hear you?
And my stuff is not near as official as,
No,
Just say ditto.
I'll say ditto. I'd like to say
Ditto.
ditto. We don't get that much money, but yeah, ditto.
no, I was going to say, you also don't get the same amount of funding, so.
No,
yeah.
it's quite different. So I just kind of wanted to give you an update on kind of what we've done so far generally, and kind of where we're headed to spend the rest of it. So far, we have set up individualized instruction for our kids that needed extra because of learning losses through tutoring and after-school things with our teachers. We've established an academic advisor that helps our high school students tremendously. That's been a great asset so far. And making sure our kids have the technology that they need to get through this crazy time. And we have hired some additional support staff. And honestly, I'm not really sure how we got along without them before they were here. So we'll have to figure that out. I don't know how that's going to look in the future, but I can't imagine going back to not having that extra help. We're still working on after-school stuff. Getting people to want to do it is our biggest struggle. Clubs and social opportunities for kids after school and things like that, kind of the same thing. We're working on a couple more field trips and things, especially for our high school students. We've seen that they really need some extra things right now. And we're working on getting a counselor part-time to work with all of our students, K-12.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Because she could answer them.
Well, yeah, what about that after-school stuff?
Was that a real question?
Yeah, that was a real question. Yeah, when you said we were having trouble finding after-school help, what is that about?
Mostly just, we could use some of our staff as supporting and doing clubs and doing that kind of thing. And I think the teachers are just frankly burned out.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
think people are really
All the
kind
balls
of
in the air.
still adjusting. This has been a huge adjustment, and I think people are just, they have too much on their plate, and so I can understand it, and certainly, we're seeing that district-wide. We're all kind of overwhelmed. And
So
adding
what
one more
happened
thing
in the
is difficult.
past? How did we accommodate for that?
They would rush to sign up.
They would, right.
Honestly, they would. They're already staying in their classes. They're already, they've had all kinds of clubs and all that stuff. But right now, everybody's burned out.
Right.
And if they have to quarantine, it's even twice as much work on top
So
of
how bad is it?
It's bad.
It's bad, huh?
It's bad.
Be-
Morale is, well, I would say morale is kind of tanking, and people are just done.
Yep.
It's so much work to deal with the kids that are at home as well as the ones that are there, and then you have them on quarantine for 10 days, so you're trying to Zoom all the time. It's constantly changing. And,
Do we have a solution in mind, or we're completely,
get rid of COVID.
yeah.
That would be the biggest solution, but hopefully time.
I will say that I think things are getting a little better, but I completely understand staff not wanting to add one more thing, because some of us are just finally feeling a little bit of, okay, but that doesn't mean I can take one more thing on. I'm trying to carry on with what I have, and so I think that is going to take time. It's been different. Kids were not used to being in the classroom. That's tough for any of them. Socially, they need to express themselves and to do things that they hadn't been allowed to or couldn't. So all of that has changed in terms of having to find routines, and all of that takes its toll in the classroom because that's where the students are.
Sure.
So it's not an easy solution. I think we have done what we can in terms of offering not only mental health support, but mental wellness. We need to take care of ourselves and encourage our staff to do so, but we also in the same breath ask them, but you need to be here tomorrow and do the same thing.
Yeah, so I understand. Give me one example of what this would entail. what would be one of the
Well,
events?
right at this campus, they're running like a little college courses that they had to cancel because of the Omicron.
Okay.
And they, cooking classes. I know Ms. Torres was doing a cooking class.
Gotcha.
So I think they'd come in once a week or something and make a cooking lesson that they can go home and cook for.
Oh, gotcha.
And then there's
even
tutoring, but
yeah.
then also the kids aren't wanting to come either. The families aren't wanting to have their kids after school. So it's a mixture right now.
Gotcha.
We've got a couple,
Teachers are having to fill more roles because we have so many staff out. I mean, our teachers are doing all the yard duty, and our teachers are, barely getting their lunch eaten by the time they're out and about,
Yeah.
because we can't find people to do it.
Absolutely. And it's one of the reasons why we've had to even compensate staff for the extra time that it takes to make connections with kids that are home on quarantine, because that's a completely different
Right.
set of time and need there, as well as those students who are on independent study, because they still need to connect. So that's one more thing in addition to what your regular role in a regular year.
Yeah, and not just one more thing then, it would be sending them in a different direction completely then. Okay, all right, I got you. All right, well, thank you, ma'am.
aren't you glad you didn't get that asked, Stephanie?
Stephanie would have been.
Oh, I was going to ask Stephanie 100 questions.
All right, moving on to consent agenda items. Actions prepared for the consent calendar are consistent with adopted and approved policies of the district and are deemed routine in nature. They will be acted upon in one motion without discussion unless members of the board request an item be removed from the consent calendar. In that event, it'll be taken up in the order indicated on the main agenda. I don't want to pull number 9.5, but I'd like to talk about it real quick. I think that happened the day of our last board meeting or the
Yes.
day before, and we probably all heard about it but didn't know about it. That's when all the police and the SWAT teams and all that, they came in and they brought supplies to schools. They did series, they did Turlock, they did a whole bunch. And so that was, they made a big whoopla for it, and we appreciate that. But we didn't talk about it last month. I think
But
it was the day of the board meeting. Yeah. But everybody's posting, why is all the cops at the school? And-
I heard
Yeah,
the
but
yeah.
they came in style. When you got those kind of nice cars, you come in style. All right, so do we have a motion to approve 9.1 through 9.5?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to action items, 10.1. Approval of certificated classified confidential management, personnel management actions. And this is what we have updated. And this is like we were just talking, it's constantly changing with staff. I've even brought up doing job fairs, but the schools doing job fairs aren't making out any different than we are, so. All right, any questions or concerns? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
We have first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
I'll give that one to Jimmy. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
all right.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to 10.2. Approval of 2021-22 certificated management salary schedule to reflect superintendent designee stipend. Mr. Brazil?
So this is in the absence of when I have gone on vacation. I think we obviously then ask someone to step into the role and act and really work out of their class. So I am asking that the board will create a stipend for when that happens, that person is at least then compensated for the additional responsibility. And again, I have had vacation, I have more vacation, and I'd like to be able to do it. And again, I will always do my best to do it when students aren't here. But I, again, would like to be able to then support someone who does take on those duties and who I ask and they volunteer, so.
Can we just vote on no vacation?
No,
You got
you
more
can't, but
You got more vacation?
All right, any questions or concerns? Do we have a motion
I'll motion.
to approve?
Approve it.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I said aye.
Aye.
I didn't hear you, neither did Mike. We're waiting on you. Moving
Where's
on
my
to,
binder?
moving on to 10.3.
There you go.
Approval of 22-23 KUSD District Safety Plan. Mr. Brazil?
So this is a requirement every year that we review our safety plans, and they have to be approved by March 1st And every year, of course, they've had additions to it. This year was all of the COVID-related things, so all of those had to be updated, and so we're asking that the board approve the updated. We continue to work on this and as a committee throughout the year, and we'll be doing so coming in June or July already for the following year if there are changes that may need.
Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, we have a second?
I'll second it.
We heard you that time.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Made sure of it.
Aye.
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 Thank you. It wasn't just me. Mike didn't hear you either.
That's freaky.
Moving on to 10.4, approval of KUSD 2021-22 Suicide Prevention Intervention Plan.
This is also something that we have to review yearly and approve. It is basically a plan that kind of assists all staff members to react and to address possible suicides, to look at what signs are there, and then kind of the procedures and the protocols that we have to follow should those things happen. And it's particularly important given the time that we're living through when kids are suffering from more anxiety and more trauma than they have ever done so. So this is, and not just for kids, but also for employees. And so that's what we're asking the board to approve.
Any questions or concerns? We have a motion to approve.
I'll motion.
We have a first,
I'll second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jimmy, I skipped you.
Aye.
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 Moving on to 10.5, approval of 3-year contract renewal for audit services. I think I need my hearing tested when the van comes.
Huh?
You do. So we have, we're bringing before you a contract for audit services for another 3 years. There has been an increase in the charge because obviously all of these auditing firms are now having to look at this multitude of funding sources and programs that they were not used to. And so now they have all of this federal and state money that's coming, and so it is costing more. I think we are very pleased with our audit firm, and so I'm requesting that the board approve that for the next 3 years.
And you think the increase is fair for the amount of work and all that?
I, to be honest, expected more, so I think it was very, yes.
Hopefully they're not listening.
I'm surprised that they decided for a 3-year, to be honest. That's all I'm saying.
Pre-COVID, I always interviewed with them on the audits. I think they're a great firm and they're very nice, friendly, and very speedy, which the faster they get out, the faster the deal can work and they can breathe. So any other questions?
They have had some issues this year with, I think, growing and staffing, and just looking at all of the increase of caseloads or of what they're looking at when they go out to perform these audits. So, but again, they're doing the best they can, and they've assisted us in filing what we needed to do so.
Any more questions or concerns?
Nope.
We have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, we have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to 10.6, approval of proposed letter, California State Public Health Officers regarding face coverings for students. Mr. Brazil?
So this is, I'm asking the board once again to do this. We've done it multiple times. I think that it's people are feeling frustrated and feeling like we don't do enough, we're not voicing it enough, and I try and truly make people understand that this is not a decision that we can make and that we are being held to it. That doesn't go over with some people, I understand. I've learned to respect and I understand them, but it still doesn't change the fact that we can't do a whole lot. So this letter is addressed to the state public officials, asking them that they allow local communities to make their own decision based on public health in local communities, that the masking requirements be addressed there and not necessarily just a mandate that's statewide. So as you know, between this getting done and we've heard today, the governor delivering some of his, what he's calling the SMART plan for recovery from the pandemic. There's also talk about on the 28th that there may be some announcement regarding K-12. I'm hoping so, but again, I wanted to share with people that I'm sending it to the people and trying to reach to the people that have the most power in making those decisions. It's really not here in Keys or in Turlock or in Modesto. It really is Sacramento, and I think that that's where we need to direct our attention to. So I would like the board to approve the letter and send it.
Questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Got a first?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to 10.7, approval of CSEA MOU extension.
This is, every month we seek the renewal from our CSEA bargaining unit, and we're pleased to, again, ask the board to approve the MOU for this month.
Any questions or concerns? Again, everything's working very,
Yep.
all right. We have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first?
I'll second.
We have a second, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 10.8, approval of KTA MOU update.
So this is our MOU with the Keys Teachers Association, so it's basically the same thing we have with CSEA. I mean, the document is different, and there's some different things, but it is the agreement that we've are asking the board to approve as we work through the COVID environment.
Simple.
Still working along with that union too?
Yes,
Uh,
very
question-
well, and I appreciated this Valponi and all the staff who were very good about getting an agreement put together, so we appreciate it.
Questions or concerns?
None.
Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have first,
I'll second.
second, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to 10.9, approval of 2021 Form 700s. It's a yearly report we have to do, say that we don't have any conflicts of interest on the board. Everybody in management and board members have to do this. And I think we've all done ours tonight, correct?
Yep.
Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve our forms that we signed?
I'll make that motion.
We have first,
I'll second it.
second, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And thank you, Dana, for all the hard work putting those together. You make it so much easier on us. Moving on to 10.10, approval of 2022 CSBA delegate election ballot choice. This comes up, and we have it in front of us. We have Ken Hausenstein from Turlock and Faye Lane, which is an incumbent from Ceres. As long as I've been on the board, Faye Lane has been in that position. I think she does a wonderful job. But do you guys have any picks or discussions on the two? Do we have a recommendation?
I'd like to nominate Fay Lane to,
We have a first for Faye Lane. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
You have a second? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Congratulations, Ms. Lane. Moving on to 10.11, approval of MOU, one-year extension between KUSD and Stanislaus County Library. Mr. Brazil?
So we have agreed to an MOU with the county library for an additional year at the rate of $500 a month. So this will be an extension from July 1st of 2022 to June 30th of 2023. And that year, we are going to continue to work and see what possibilities there are of revamping facilities or of continuing to provide services for the community.
Any questions or concerns? Happy to get this one done.
Yes.
It's been a long time. We'll be right back at it in 6 months.
Yep.
Motion to approve?
I'll motion.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to 10.12, approval to appoint Mr. Raul Verduzco as Chief Business Officer beginning July 1st, 2022. Mr. Brazil?
Well, as you all know, Stephanie, even with her quiet voice, is going to go away in July. And so I have a recommendation to make to the board that we continue to employ Mr. Raul Verduzco in the district, but as the CBO taking over the duties for Stephanie. He has absolutely taken on the challenge, has worked hard, has continued to seek training and does so. He knows our district, he knows our community, he is vested and wants to be here. And so I personally think that it's an amazing thing when you have someone within that demonstrates not only the ability, but the desire and the want, and that I will honestly say that I feel I trust and I know will give it his best. So I would like the board to approve that, and that's my recommendation. And I also feel that that has taken into consideration both my speaking with you as well as with Stephanie, and I think we can make that recommendation without any hesitation.
I just want to appreciate all you've stepped up this last year with the extra training and the schooling and all that stuff. It makes a huge difference. Anybody else?
Yeah. Well, I would only have one question. I would ask you, can you do the job? Then I'm good with
What if he
that.
said no? Why would you ask him?
Well, if he said no, then I would say, we need to adjourn.
Stephanie can't even talk, we gotta do something.
Well,
Any other comments or concerns, or?
I'm happy
And
for
if
you.
I could just say, the one thing that I will say, that is a very tough job, and it's a key position in the district, but it's one that is always evolving, and Stephanie knows this, and she and I have spoken well about it, and Raul is someone who will not be afraid to seek out support or answers or direction from others. He is not afraid to ask, and I think that that's the key. We don't know it all, particularly this given point in time with funding coming from all over the place. And I know that Raul will absolutely, I don't know why he'd want it, but he does. So I applaud him, and I'm thankful for it.
Well, Raul came to the district at the after-school program, turned that thing around in months. And then when he said he was ready to go to the district office, I personally said, no, I want you to stay in the after-school program, because it was running so well.
Yeah.
Then I said, but when you leave it, don't abandon it. And it's still his baby. He still protects after-school program like you would not believe. I would say the same about this position you're in now, but now you're going to be the boss of that position, so I know you're going to take care of it. And it's been amazing to watch you grow. It's amazing to see the people you build that complain on how good you are at your job. But I appreciate all your efforts, and I think we're ready for a vote.
Yep.
Do we have a motion
I'd be glad to make a motion
to?
to hire Raul.
All right, we have a first.
I'll second.
We have a second. Drum roll. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Wow, yeah, beautiful.
Now, who's going to run our meetings?
That comes with, it's been another duty. The other duties are assigned, yeah.
Et cetera, et
He
cetera.
hasn't signed a contract,
he
so we
doesn't
can
know
add
yet.
whatever we want.
Yeah, he doesn't know yet.
We can add whatever we want on this contract. Moving on to 10.13, approval of PBK Architects. It's an architect agreement for building and maintenance projects. Mr. Brazil?
So we're asking that you approve, we went out for a formal request of individual companies that were, or architect firms that were interested in assisting us with our projects. This is the company who responded, to be honest, but we have vetted their projects, their work, and they are reputable, and I think will do an amazing job. As you know, we have an incredible number of projects that we've shared with all of you that we need to complete between now and probably 2026. I'm hoping that at some point in 25, 26, that there will be some exceptions made or allowances for us to extend that funding or to hold on to it for a little bit longer, because completing all these projects in the given environment that we're in, where, you know, jobs and supplies aren't readily available, or it's going to be tough. But the recommendation is that you approve PBK as the architects for those projects, which include, you know, the roofing, other projects both at SMS and KES. I mean, we've shared the list, but so some from even a gate going in to cafeteria remodeling to you name it.
Some cement in front of Spratling where the students
Cement
walk.
in front of Spratling where, yes.
And this kind of just like a wish list that we hope we can get, but we have to put it in front of the architects so they can see if it's logistical, right?
The
Yes,
field is
and
Spratling.
we still don't know that, I mean, we have funding, however, we don't know that we have enough funding, because as we complete one project, then we'll see, okay, how much over did that project go, and can we do the next one, can we do the next one? So, but we've got them all prioritized, we think.
All right. We have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to 11.1, ESSER 3. Mr. Brazil? Well, we really just talked about it.
We're trying to expend those funds as quickly as we can. And again, we have priorities that we've set up, and the committee has shared those, so we'll continue to work on it.
I've been getting scolded off the side of the camera by our DO office. Number 10.14 actually was an add-on, not a update. And that's approval for KTL senior grad night. I thought that was always on the agenda. It was on the ones we approved.
I don't think it was, I don't.
Oh, well anyways, we already approved it in the amendment. It's 10.14 is approval KTL senior grad night. Would you like to come up and talk about that? Nope?
Nope.
All right. We have the papers in front of us. Do we want to approve it?
No, and it is well chaperoned. It's
Yeah.
it's something they've always done. I'm just glad they're doing it and able to do it.
No.
We have a motion to approve?
I'll make the
Again?
motion.
I'll make that motion.
We have first, we have a second. Jimmy, your second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Dana. Oh, I would have got so in trouble with charter school if we didn't pick this one.
Right?
All right, going back to 11.2, we're now on the SMS track. Is that okay, Dana? Can we go to 11.2? SMS track committee meeting and update?
So we have met with, or Eric has met with the landscape architect who's come back with provisionary drawings, which we shared with everyone. We put it out to the committee who worked on and asked for opinions before we gave the final go for her to put something more official together. So middle of March, we should be hearing back. That's kind of the timeline she gave us. And at that point, then we will reconvene as a committee and take a look at exactly what's been put together and what we can do and what stages we'll need to do it in.
All right.
But it's moving along.
That's exciting.
It's exciting, yes.
Any other questions or concerns about that?
None?
All right, moving on to reports. 12.1, superintendent report.
Okay, just do one. Okay, well, as all of you know, the boys' basketball will be playing in the tournament at Hickman next week, February 22nd through the 24th. Masking continues to be an issue with visiting teams when we play at home. I've reminded everyone of the current mandate and that we have to do our best to adhere to it. However, I'm honestly at the point I don't want staff or students to engage in disagreements over it. You remind people and you remind people, but I can't physically put a mask on someone, and that's not a smart thing to do. So I'm just saying that because it's kind of an impossible thing to continue to do. But we continue to see a decrease in the number of positive cases. Our quarantine numbers are certainly becoming less and less. I send that out on the Friday letter to all of you, and you can kind of see that that has indeed happened. We're so excited. We believe we have found a music teacher. However, it will only be 80% because this individual has a 20% job that he would like to remain in. We have not officially hired, but we think we found, and so we will find out more next week. So I don't want to announce names or anything, obviously, because that will come before the board. But we're hoping that that person can start in March, finish out the year, and because we didn't use the funds this year, that we will certainly be able to continue with that program for the following year and hopefully then continue to build. So we're excited about that. We're still looking for an art teacher. I'm not giving up on that either. I think if we're patient, we'll get it. And also the 7th grade teacher for the position of teacher on special assignment. We shared the LCAP update or the draft. Universal PK is something that we're gonna, and Raul, if you can bring that up for me. The governor has funded, or the legislature and the governor have moved forward with funding for universal TK. We're very fortunate because we already have a transitional kindergarten or a pre-kindergarten. They're calling it pre-kinder now. And basically, the hope is that as you reach students younger and younger with good curriculum and good routines, that they will be grasp concepts quicker, that they will be better students and better learners. And so the funding will become available. However, funding for, well, if you'll switch the next, it's all based on legislation that you've heard lately, and it stems all the way back actually from the federal government, which was a 2010 Kindergarten Readiness Act that really began the ball rolling. We're very fortunate, as I said, we already have transitional kindergarten at both the charter school and at our key site. What this does, however, is, and Raul, if you'll go to the next slide, what this does is it allows county offices and districts to actually get funding for providing it. And however, it comes with, and Raul, you can go to the next one. I'm just gonna talk through it so you can, but the real issue is that it is capped at having, for this coming year, 2022, 2023, you can't have more than 24 students. If you have 24 students, you must have one full-time teacher and an instructional aide, so it's basically 12-to-1 ratio. As we progress out and all the way along each year, the qualification birth date or the requirements for the age continue to go lower and lower. So we'll be able to get kids who are younger and younger up to 2026. So our hope is that we will be able to have a program that is 10-to-1 when it's finally implemented. There is some funding that comes with it, but it is related to if you have more than 25 students. We currently only have 14, so we can't apply for additional facilities money until we reach that point. And it may be that by the time we reach it, that then there won't be the money available because everyone else will have gotten it. Projections are kind of what Raul has up there now. This current year, as you can see, we have 14. We're anticipating, we're hoping that next year we'll have 20, and that we'll be within that guideline and be able to have a class of 20 and have a teacher and an aide. And then projecting it out, again, this is taking the birth dates, the span, and seeing how that might play out. We're hoping that then for 23, 24, we would have a total of 30 students or more. At that time, again, if we were able to qualify for funding, we would hopefully find out in 22 or 23, and then on to 35 for 24, 25. Again, all of this is projections, but the other thing is there are many children right now who are not able to go for Head Start, for example, because they don't meet the funding requirement or the income requirements. So those are students that, honestly, the birth date change now really will help and will allow them to come to our program. There are districts that are going to do AM, PM because of the issues with facilities, because they don't have enough rooms. We're okay. We're anticipating that we have in the plans to bring portables, extra portables to both KES and at SMS. So using our developer fees monies, which can only be used for building for growth. So that's where we're planning to use those. So I think we'll be fine. Staffing may become an issue because it is a specialized credential. It requires a lot more of child development units than typically a credentialed teacher has. So that may be the challenge. There are state incentives for people to engage and to achieve that certification. There's some programs where you can have some waivers and things. So we're going to try our best to get through it, but to get those kiddos in a program that I think will set them off on a better path of being able to be better, to learn and to really start at a younger age, thinking about learning the routines, social skills, all of those things.
While this screen's up, what happens if we have 47 kids sign up next year? Do we just take the ones we can hold, or do we have to accommodate?
Well, we would do our best to accommodate.
Yeah.
However, you can say that you are capped for the program and only take the students that you can. But if we had 44, I'd be excited
Yeah, no, I just,
to look.
I'm
I would
just
take
using
them.
that as because right now we're low, but who
Right.
knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking, like, are we, because like if we have 40 first graders show up, we're obligated to.
No, and if we did, I think we would still be early enough to apply. That doesn't mean
But you get we're obligated to take the first
Absolutely.
graders, we're not obligated to take
No.
the TK, correct?
no, if our program is impacted and we can't provide it, then we could allow them to go elsewhere if the surrounding program was offered. And that's really kind of, we're hoping, again, that we would need more staff as we go along, and that would be great. But it's kind of, now I'll be sharing this with staff, and we'll be communicating with parents. We've already had a TK and kinder roundup or sign-up day, but we'll continue. That is open, and we wanted to share that it is open every day to anyone who in the community wants to register someone. They don't have to wait for a specific date to do it. They can come in and register and get them going. In fact, that helps us because then we look at projections and we actually know real numbers instead of waiting for the day that school opens. So again, I'll be sharing this with the community, with staff, and we hope that our numbers will increase. And we'll get funding for it.
And ages for that?
What's that?
What's the age for that?
The age, every year it drops by about 3
Okay.
to 4 months. So it's from September to December, then September
Okay.
to, so that's, they become
So
younger
it
and
grows.
younger,
Yeah.
will be eligible to enter.
But we're a lot less than kindergarten, like when I was a kid.
Correct. it basically will take kids who would be in Head Start or in preschool and allow them to enter a TK program.
And then they do kindergarten next year, correct?
And yes, it's a 2-year program, so they do pre-K that first year. They have to do kindergarten the second year, so there's no skipping and going from pre-K to first grade. And I think that that's something we have to be very honest with parents, because a lot of them think, well, they did TK, they're way ahead, and well, no, you still have to go through kindergarten. That's one of the requirements.
Anything else in your board report?
Even if they're advanced?
Yeah, you can't.
They're not old enough.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
So we do have plans to bring extra portables. I already shared that with all of you. I've already shared about the February 28th. Hopefully we'll hear from public health and the politics in terms of masking. I'll keep you posted on the progress of the track and field plans. If they do come in any earlier, we can meet. We're continuing to work with parents to get them to have all 6th graders with the vaccine that's Tdap, that has nothing to do with the COVID, but it was the Tdap that was required for any student who was going to 6th grade camp, and then they must have it for 7th grade for enrollment. So we continue to have some students that we're working to try and get them to meet that requirement. We are really struggling with chronic absenteeism. I mean, our numbers are horrific because between the combination of quarantines, which are by no fault of anybody, but they happen, plus then students who are just not coming to school on time, coming late, leaving early, all of those things, we're trying to do that. As Stephanie had said, we'll probably be increasing our SARB budget to pay for cases that we'll have to take to the Stanislaus County Attendance Review Board. So we're working hard on that kids have to be present and on time to learn. So that's the key. These are kind of busy times with budget development and all the crazy plans that don't seem to end. And the end of the year is kind of here. March will be a long month. It's a long stretch. So these 4 days now will be good because March is long. And I once again want to thank the entire staff and all that they do in their support. I know these are not easy times. I say that and I mean it. And I wish everybody a good or happy President's Day holiday weekend, because it's a longer one. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
No.
All right, moving on to board member comments. Mr. Emmons?
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Raul for being appointed out. I'm sure you'll do a great job. We're happy for you. Happy for Stephanie, because she gets...
But we'll see
I'd like
Stephanie
to-
still, right?
No, she's gone.
After today?
Yeah, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
She's not gone yet.
July.
She's not gone yet.
She'll be on the
This
beaches
I'm
of
just
Hawaii or
saying.
something.
I am very proud of the district for all the projects, all the hard work everybody is taking what funding we get and really putting it to good use for the buildings, for the track, for all the different projects that they're doing. It's really, I think we're doing better with the money than a lot of districts are. And I'm just happy about that. And I'm glad everybody's got a few days off. It came at a good time. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Green?
I'll also reiterate, Raul, I congratulate you on your achievement, for sure. If you get to know me, Raul, you'll realize I'm a symmetrical. It's got to be balanced. I know, Jeff. But the sign, right, on the board that is facing me, of all people, is it's out of center with the bottom by about an inch, right?
So that's
Yeah, all right, all
that's the CBO's problem.
All right, I'm just saying, I didn't know whose responsibility that was. But every time I start to get into something important, I keep looking over there going,
You should see what I did. I put them on a document that they're backwards.
Yeah. No, but Raul, I truly want to congratulate you on your achievement, and I thank you for your effort, for sure. And as long as, Stephanie, you're not going anywhere yet, you're still here, right? So I'll save my for another day. Other than that, everybody, thank you for coming, for sure.
Wes, the logo's lopsided, so do you want to make another vote on the CBO?
Well, no, but
All right, moving on, Mr. Burnett?
Yeah, I'd like to say congratulations to your new position. I know you're going to do a great job. And I'd like to thank all the staff that all their hard work. And then I want to say that I hope we have some good news in February 28th.
Me too.
All right, thank you. Mr. Greener?
Nothing for me today.
All right. I have a couple. First off, people in the audience know, but people at home don't know. We get a real nice binder. It's all really nice to open. It's easy to go. Dana had a couple of days that she had to work from home, so we couldn't get our binder. So me and Wes are really thrown off today.
Very much so.
Very much. And I just want to say I appreciate you for everything you do, especially when you catch me on the 10.14. She keeps us all organized. So it was already going to talk about that. Yeah, she wants us to go. And then, congratulations, Raul. That's all I'm going to say because Dana's yelling at me. Moving on to sports. It's been great. Jimmy's popped his head in a couple times. Jeff and I go to a lot of the sports games. Really great to watch the kids play, but what I don't really talk about is we never really do is all the students that it takes to run those games. There's 4 to 5, and sometimes they're working shifts to run the games, and up until the boys' sports, I never really paid much attention, but the doors ran by students, and the timer and the scoreboard, that's all ran by students, and I really appreciate all that because especially with the staff being burned out, they're just not wanting to or have the time to step up. A lot of the teachers do go to the games. They pop in, they watch the games, but they don't want to stay. Do appreciate Miss McGinnis and her daughter, the other Miss McGinnis, for coming to the games yesterday. Miss McGinnis from here got hugs from everybody. Everybody was excited to see her, and I appreciate when a teacher goes out of the way to go to the other campus to support the kids as they grow up. It was a big in part on me graduating was younger Miss McDaniel making sure I graduate. So the kids love seeing her, and I told her, but tell her to watch the video because she'll get some kudos for that. And then my last thing would be, you talked a little bit about it, but I do want to say how impressed I am with our students and our parents for wearing the masks. Even if they believe in it or they don't believe in it, when they come to the sports, they wear the mask and we have no issues with them. When we go to away games, they wear the mask. We have no issues with them. There's not been a game that Mr. Green or Mr. Brazil, haven't been yelled at by somebody for having to wear a mask by the opposite team. And the kids see it, the families see it, but yet they still wear their masks. So I just say, no matter the viewpoint on it, I appreciate you following the rules that we have to follow. And it makes the game go better for us. And it shows that the kids look up to the adults. And they see their parents wearing the mask, and I appreciate it. Moving on to next board meetings, 13.1 is March 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patty's Day.
So we're all going to wear green or we're getting pinched. Moving on, closed sessions at 5:30, regular sessions at 6. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
We have a first?
A second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good night.